Welcome. We're so glad to have you all here. Thank you so much for being here. We feel incredibly fortunate to have such an engaged and supportive water data community. So welcome to the October public event for the California Water Data Consortium. I'm Tara Moran, CEO for the California Water Data Consortium. And I just want to say how excited we are to see so many of you here today. We have a jam-packed agenda because that's how we like to do things here. So our goals here today are really to introduce you to our recently seated steering committee members and to hear about what they're excited about and all of the exciting skills and expertise that they bring to both the steering committee itself and the consortium. But our goals for the meeting extend well beyond that. And so we're going to provide you with a quick update on what the consortium has been doing, some of the work and pilot projects that we've been doing, and a lot of that lays the groundwork for additional venues for all of you to engage with the consortium long term. And I'll talk a little bit more about other venues later as well. We also want to provide you with an opportunity to share your thoughts and feedback. And that's really such a critical component for the consortium, which is really envisioned to be a neutral space for individuals and organizations to share their ideas and undertake projects related to the use of open and transparent water data for improved management decisions. And so in doing this, we're really building a new organization. And so we're excited to have you be part of this and to help us and share your ideas and be part of building out the consortium moving forward. And then finally, of course, we're excited to celebrate and enjoy time together. I'm cognizant of the crazy times that we're living in right now and the need to connect and support and enjoy time with one another, whether that's in person from a distance or virtually. And so I hope all of you can stay and partake in our happy hour. We're going to have a little bit of a trivia session and a few laughs and some informal time together. So we're looking forward to both a productive and enjoyable couple of hours together. So I'm pleased to hand things over to my co-NC, Chris McCready, who is a member of the consortium steering committee. But importantly, Chris is also a member of the partner agency team, the team that has been tasked with implementing AB 1755. And I just want to say a huge thank you to Chris and the entire partner agency team for their ongoing leadership and efforts with AB 1755 implementation. And so, Chris, I'll hand things over to you.
Thanks, Tara. So what I will say, as you already are well aware of what we're gathered here to do today, I might just cast those backwards briefly just to acknowledge that AB 1755, the Open and Transparent Water Data Act, passed or was signed into law in September of 2016. So we've just passed the 4-year anniversary, and we have also crossed over all of the expressed milestones in the legislation. So it feels extra fortuitous that we are at a point where we're transitioning into this new world with the consortium. The partner agency team and all of the state agencies that they together represent, working on implementing AB 1755, are looking forward to being an active part of the consortium, and also to maintain a somewhat separate identity as we receive feedback and recommendations from or through this consortium venue, and also as we work to implement consistent with our own statutory obligations that existed long before 1755. So, you know, we're all wearing multiple hats, and in that way, my role and the partner agency team role is multiple hats. You may also have noticed that back in June when we launched the consortium, it was a co-hosted event by AB 1755 partner agency team and the new consortium. And today, we're really, other than my emceeing contributions, we are really moving into a posture of the consortium being that primary crossroads where all of the interested community members can come and share their thinking with one another and advance open data in California in terms of water and ecological data. And so today is kind of, like I said, it's that moment, you know, I might set an analogy. We are today breaking the champagne bottles over the bow of the ship, and the ship is about to push away from the dock. And you know, it's a really exciting time, and I'm pleased to be part of it with you. And with that, I think I will pass it on to
Chris, if you'd
Ariel.
like, we have a polling. We were going to poll in to see. Did you want to introduce that? Go ahead.
Oh, I can. I saw that Tara was going to do that.
Oh, okay. One or the other of you.
Tara, are you prepared to do that? I know Julia was going to be helping on the back end.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so we want to hear from all of you. And Julia is going to set up a poll, but we really want to hear where you're joining us from. And so we're hoping you'll participate, and you should be seeing the poll there now. And it's asking, what sector do you represent? So we've got government, academia, private sector, NGOs, and then interested public. And so I'm just going to give all of you just a few seconds to complete the poll. And once we have everyone largely completed, then we'll just have a little bit better sense of who's out there today and who's represented. Wow, great job, everyone. We've got 80% of people voting. This is awesome. 82. So we'll just give it a couple more seconds here.
So Tara, I'm seeing in the chat that there are some folks we didn't capture, like
Right.
tribal folks and some folks who have multiple hats. So next time we'll expand our categories, but thanks for identifying yourselves, and other folks should feel free to add to the chat too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for that.
And also, you know, we are planning to poll folks who've attended afterwards. Oftentimes, you know, we heavily encourage you to take that poll, because we will have more specific questions about various communities and sectors.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys can see the results of the poll there. We've got 56% from government, 10% from academia, 15% private sector, 15% NGO, and then interested public. And then as Debbie and Ariel pointed out, a few people who we didn't have categories to fit. So we will work on that for next time. And thank you so much for putting that into the chat. But what is so wonderful about what we did see is that we really have this lovely representation that really represents what the consortium is meant to be, which is this neutral space for ongoing collaboration and dialogue between state agency representatives and non-state agency representatives, including private sector, reporting entities, academia, NGOs, and that's really what we see here in our audience today. So this is really exciting and wonderful, wonderful to see these polling results and that it's so representative. And part of what we'll see is in our breakout groups later, we saw a very diverse range of interests and areas that people wanted to participate in. And so we'll have an opportunity to hear from many of you in the areas that you were most interested in. So with that, I'm going to hand things over to Ariel, who will get us oriented to the meeting and meeting logistics for the day.
Great. Okay, wonderful. So just really quickly, going over the agenda, Tara will give us an update on the consortium, and we will meet the new consortium steering committee members. And from there, you'll hear an update on the consortium pilot projects on streamlining, which we know is a really a major priority for a lot of folks. And from there, we'll give a little bit of information on ways to help support the consortium's fundraising efforts, and then how you can best get involved in the work. We will switch to a breakout so you can get your beverage, a break to get your beverage of choice. Come back, toast the launch of the steering committee. And then we heard that folks wanted a little more time in the breakouts at our last June meeting. So we've got a substantial amount of time for our topic specific breakouts this time around. And from there, we will transition into the happy hour. and adjourn about 4:30 then. So next slide. Most of you are, I'm sure, quite tech savvy, but there may be some new folks involved. So just really quick information on Zoom. First of all, for technical assistance, if you're having any troubles, if you're on phone but want to be on full Zoom or whatever, Julia Van Horn is our Zoom driver today. And her number is 530-574-7508. And Julia, if you can put on your screen, I know she's in a little bit of a darker room today, but people may want to interact with you around the breakout, so it'd be helpful for folks to see your face. Next
Hello.
slide. There's Julia. Oh, she got some more light. Great. So next slide. So as you probably know already, but if you don't, to mute yourself, that's in the lower left-hand corner. And generally the Zoom culture is we remain muted unless we're getting ready to speak because of background noise. If you're on the phone, you can dial *6 to mute and unmute. And next slide. Your video on and off is right next to that, and please feel free to be either on screen or off screen as you feel comfortable. Next slide, thanks. The chat is also in the center. Feel free to use that as you will. We may not be able to track it totally during the meeting, but we'd love to be able to gather comments and thoughts from you all. Next slide. So then to be added to the speaking queue when we have speaking times, if you click on the participants, which shows we have 129 people right now, you'll get a box, and then there will be a small blue hand in the lower left-hand corner, which you can click to get in the queue to speak. And if you're on the phone, you dial *9 and you'll get a little response telling you you've been put in the queue. Next slide. Our general meeting agreements, we are all here with different points of view. We want to be inspired and informed by everybody. So we suggest, please, when you're in the group, to share the air. Make sure that anybody who would like to speak has a little bit of space. Please avoid interrupting other folks. If we can interact from the place that all ideas and points of view have value, that creates a nice collaborative space to hear differing perspectives. Please today make yourself as comfortable as you need to be. Stand up, stretch when you need to, move around. We understand that Zoom life these days can be a little stiffening. So we want to support you all to take breaks and get food and drink when you need to. Next slide. Okay, update on the consortium. So I'll turn it over to Tara.
Excellent. Thank you, Ariel. Yeah, so I just want to reiterate my starting sentiment. I'm just so pleased that all of you are here, and many of you have been on this journey for a long time and contributed to both the development and passage of the Open and Transparent Data Act, as we heard about, which passed in 2016. However, many of you are new to this as well, and new to open and transparent data here in California and to the consortium. And so just briefly, the consortium was formed in 2019, so last summer. And I started with the consortium at the beginning of August of this past year. And we had our first big launch event of the consortium at the end of June this past year. And briefly, the California Water Data Consortium is a nonprofit organization committed to supporting the ongoing development of interoperable, publicly available water data to support sustainable water management in the face of climate change and other pressures on the resource. And really, it facilitates this vision by serving as a neutral space for ongoing dialogue and collaboration between the state via the partner agency team, ongoing reporting entities, the private sector, nonprofit organizations, academia, and others. And there are really two critical elements. There are more, but I'm going to focus on two critical elements that differentiate the consortium from other organizations. and that are really key, I think, to the consortium's long-term success. And the first is this strong partnership between the state and non-state agencies. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But the second is that we really are an independent, neutral space for collaboration. And by that, I mean we are not a regulatory body. We do not have taxing authority, and we're not a data repository. And so this gives us a lot of flexibility. We can act nimbly and independently and really focus on building alignment around the use of data for informed decision-making. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the work that we're doing in a few minutes here around data streamlining and other pilot projects that we have that we're currently undertaking, just to provide you with a concrete example of some of the ways that we're working in this space. But for those of you who are new to the consortium and the Open and Transparent Water Data Act, I would really encourage you to go to the consortium's website, which hopefully will be posted there as a link in the chat window, and read our FAQs. We also have other material on our website. I'd also encourage you to visit the Department of Water Resources AB 1755 website and to read the AB 1755 implementation journal. All of those have links going up in the chat window here. And I would really encourage you to read through those and really to understand the history, both in terms of formation of the Open and Transparent Water Data Act, as well as the formation of the consortium. So another critical aspect of the consortium is that we've really been designed to long-term have opportunities for all of you to engage in our work. And it's really key to us that we have individuals who can do that. And so our goal is to develop 2 working groups. The first will be a technical working group that will identify technical deficiencies or challenges that could limit the consortium's data-related goals. And the second is a data users working group that is really focused on what are the critical decisions and how might data inform those. And so our governance structure is really designed to provide a space for individuals who do not necessarily have a data science background, or who may feel that they don't have the technical expertise to engage in this space. And so I really want to dispel that myth right now. We need everyone involved, and we need people to be helping us to understand what are the critical decisions, how is data hindering those decisions, and then to be engaged in both the water policy work, as well as law, management, all of these other areas, and that we can then have some back and forth between the data users working group and the technical working group. And then what are our updates? What have we been doing? So again, many of you who may have heard from our consortium board or me talking in the past, but one of the critical areas that we are focused in is data streamlining. This is a really critical component for the consortium's work moving forward. And not only does it help to alleviate the reporting burdens faced by reporting entities, but it also provides a significant opportunity for state agencies to ensure that they have the data necessary for informed decision-making in the format necessary to support those decisions. And so again, we're going to be talking about one of our pilot projects related to groundwater elevations, as well as some of our other pilot projects in a few minutes here. But the other major update that we wanted to make here is the announcement of the consortium's inaugural steering committee. And so I spoke previously about the consortium being a forum for collaboration between the public, private sectors, reporting entities, NGOs, academia, and others. But importantly, these collaborations are built into the consortium's governance structure via our board, which includes a diversity of individuals across sectors and interest groups, as well as in our steering committee, which is an 11-member committee composed of 6 state agency representatives and 5 non-state agency representatives. And it's really this body that will, in conjunction with the consortium's board, set the programmatic priorities for the consortium and develop a work plan to achieve those priorities and oversee the development of the consortium's working groups, which again is going to be this venue where a lot of the substantive work for the consortium takes place. And so before I introduce them, I just want to acknowledge the really incredible pool of applicants that we had for these positions. It was both incredibly encouraging, but it also made for very difficult decisions. And so I want to thank everyone who applied. And I sincerely hope that you will continue to be engaged in the consortium moving forward. So I'm thrilled to introduce our steering committee members.
And Tara, before we go to the first person, just a quick warning to folks, we will be taking screenshots to sort of celebrate the moment. And this will be a place where we will be doing that. And so just wanted to warn people, if you don't want to be in our screenshots, to go off video. Go ahead, sorry.
Sure, thanks, Ariel. Yep. Yeah, so I have asked them to actually introduce themselves, talk just briefly about why they're excited to be part of the consortium and the skills and expertise that they bring. But I also wanted to say that this is a very impressive group of individuals. And so I would really encourage you again to go to the consortium's website and read their bios. They have so much to contribute, and we're absolutely thrilled to have them on board. And so with that, I would like to hand things over to Dr. Deborah Agarwal to kick things off. And then from there, Dr. Agarwal, I'm going to ask you to pass it off alphabetically through the steering committee members.
Thank you, Tara. So I'm Deb Agarwal, as Tara mentioned. I'm a senior scientist at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. I also lead the Data Science and Technology Department at the lab. And I've been working in water for about 12 years. So for instance, I'm a data manager for a project working to understand climate change in watersheds. I also lead a data repository that's collecting water-related data as well as environmental data. I'm a member of the National Alliance for Water Innovation, which is looking at water treatment technologies. And I'm also a fellow in the Berkeley Institute for Data Science. And so next I want to introduce, or I want to turn the mic over to Mike Antos.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mike Antos. And thanks, Deborah, for passing it over. I'm a senior integrated water management specialist at Stantec. I'm also a visiting scholar at the UC Irvine Anthropology Department. And my background that's related to here is working on decision support, dashboards, and other data-related activities on the social side of things. So I'm most interested in focusing on making sure that the people who are trying to make decisions are able to communicate into the data managers what things they actually are looking for, making sure that the dashboards are meaningful to the people operating whatever it is that we're dashboarding. So I'm really excited to be part of this. And I'll pass it over to Drew.
Thanks, Mike. I'm Drew Atwater. I actually have been very privileged to work for two organizations who've been very proactive in supporting water data efforts throughout the state. I just recently transitioned from Molteniga Water District, and now I work at Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, who've both been very proactive in supporting water data efforts throughout the state. I'm also the chair of the California Data Collaborative, which is another organization working from urban water, retail water kind of data to help inform decision-making by retail water agencies. So I'm really excited to take the lessons learned that we've had, Data Collaborative, and help kind of in bringing this vision of an internet of water to California and working collaboratively with all the other stakeholders.
I think Drew's going to pass it on to me.
Yeah. Next up, we have Christina Babbitt. Sorry.
My name is Christina Babbitt. I work for Environmental Defense Fund, and I manage our California groundwater program. It's great to be here today. I've been working a lot on water accounting systems and water trading, and I'm really excited to be a part of the steering committee because I think there's a lot of opportunities not only to advance the goals of the consortium, but also address the goals of the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act and see what kind of synergies we can find. So great to be here, and I will pass it off to Joy.
Great, thank you so much. My name is Joy Bonaguro, and I'm the Chief Data Officer for the state of California. And I'm a total open data geek, and my history in open data started in the early 2000s when I had to fill out a paper form and pay to request a CD of the parks for the city and county of New Orleans. And when I finally got the CD months later, it was corrupt. And that led to me driving all around the city of New Orleans, and I digitized the parks and became the de facto source of digital parks data for New Orleans, both pre and post Katrina. And so really excited about this effort and what it means for California data, and especially in the arena of water. And with that, I will pass it on to Martha Davis.
Thank you, Joy. My name is Martha Davis. I am retired. I retired from the Inland Empire Utilities Agency in 2018, and I've been consulting on water issues since then. In terms of my background, I bring a dual perspective to the consortium, having spent the first 20 years of my career in water leading an environmental group called the Mono Lake Committee, and the second 20 years leading innovative green infrastructure initiatives for a regional wholesale water agency in Southern California. I'm very excited to be a part of the consortium, and I think it's urgently needed. We live in a time when there's so much change in the way our systems are working that oftentimes our old assumptions are more frequently wrong than right. And to make better water management decisions, we really need real-time information about how our water systems are working. And it's so important to have a neutral place where we can bring together many people with many different perspectives about how to do this and how to promote open data tools. So I'm very excited to be here. And with that, I'm very pleased to turn this over to my esteemed colleague, Joaquin Esquivel.
Thank you so much, Martha. Really appreciate it. And just incredible to see so many people here. And the leadership in California that has brought us to this moment is really pretty unique. So just thank you. My name is Joaquin Esquivel. I'm chair of the State Water Resources Control Board. Between water quality regulation, water rights administration, and drinking water regulation, data is really the principal tool or foundation of everything we do at the board. We're a decision-making entity. I, along with my nearly 70 other water boards members, are really dependent upon a healthy data ecosystem in the water sector, and we can't do it alone. And so just really appreciate the disparate leadership that's captured here, and want to acknowledge as well that this conversation in California is really linked to a national conversation that's been bubbling for years now in the water sector. And we have an opportunity to lead in the state and really connect with our other sister states in these water management discussions. How are we going to really live up to the challenges of the 21st century, given that we have 21st century infrastructure and 19th century laws governing it? So thanks, look forward to the opportunity. Kick it over to David Harris.
Thanks. My name is David Harris. I'm the Chief Data Officer for the California Natural Resources Agency, where I'm privileged to support the department's boards and commissions of CNRA. And that's also included its partners and AB 1755. It's been terrific to work with this amazing group of folks working to create what's the equivalent of a nervous system for California government, hopefully coordinating all our limbs properly eventually on water decision making. And one example of a system that I support the development of is the CNRA's open data platform. And I hope you all are as excited as I am about the huge improvements that have been made to California's open water data accessibility. And if you want to jump into helping with the next generation of that, we're having a breakout where we're talking about user interfaces in a little bit. So feel free to join us for that. So with that, I'll hand off to Nick Martorano.
Great, thanks, David. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nick Martorano, and I'm the director of the California Water Quality Monitoring Council. For those of you that aren't aware, the Monitoring Council is a cross-sector collaborative group that was mandated or is mandated by SB 1070 to coordinate water quality and ecosystem monitoring across the state, and to then increase accessibility to the information that we create from the monitoring data that we collect. We have been named as a collaborative partner with AB 1755 and have been very excited to be working with the partner agency team and now the California Water Data Consortium. We see this as a great opportunity to really complete the data lifecycle, where we work on kind of the data collection and then maybe the data information piece, and AB 1755 fills in with the consortium, the data accessibility pieces. So really excited about this effort and really taking California to the next level. With that, I'll hand it off to Chris McCready.
Chris, you're still muted.
Might be muted.
Rookie move. Okay, so thank you for that. I was just saying and cracking myself up that I have already introduced myself a little bit earlier, but to expound on that, I am a principal engineer with the Department of Water Resources in our Division of Planning, and it's in that capacity that I have had the pleasure of working with our partner agency team as a co-lead. I'm excited about the consortium because it's a chance for everyone who's been engaged in our 1755 implementation to date to formalize and expand their partnership, and it's a chance for us to bring in additional ideas and talent. As I mentioned, I've been actively involved in 1755 since it passed 4 years ago, and so I like to think I'll bring along the history, and I look forward to serving as a liaison between the partner agency team and the consortium. So now it's my pleasure to call on Susan Tatayan.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Susan Tatayan, Chair of the Delta Stewardship Council, and I am so honored to have this opportunity to be part of advancing the consortium's mission. I look forward to working with all of you to further the goals. I am just amazed that we are here at this moment. You know, it feels like a startup in the tech world. It's a startup company. The difference is that stakeholders and NGOs and government, private sector, we're all going to be part of co-creating this organization, this neutral space where we can work together to improve and access to water-related data and ecological data. In terms of my background, I've been in California water management for over 35 years. I've worked for the Department of Water Resources, the Bureau of Reclamation, the Nature Conservancy, and now the Council. So I bring a few different vantage points. I have not only experienced data mining, I've also experienced amazing, really well done data access points and decision support tools. I have to share with you that just this morning at our Delta Stewardship Council meeting, the Delta Water Master, Michael George, in his quarterly report to the council, was sharing an awful lot of recent data from the Water Board. And he noted that having better data and having more people able to access and understand that data will help all of us to make more informed decisions about trade-offs as we manage our water resources. And my hope is that with this increased access and transparency will help reduce conflicts as we address those trade-offs. The council has been working with the partner agency team for AB 1755 implementation, but even before AB 1755, the council has been and continues to be working very hard to share all ecological data in the Delta. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm happy to be part of this inaugural steering committee, and I look forward to all the great work we're going to get done together.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. We're absolutely thrilled to have you on board. And what a bunch of pros. That was an amazing set of introductions and handoffs, as well as keeping things to time and all of that. So we're absolutely thrilled to have you guys on board. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to working with all of you and to seeing what's next for the consortium and implementation of AB 1755. And so with that, I'd like to hand things over to two of the consortium's board members, Debbie Franco and Eric Averett, who are going to talk about some of the pilot projects and other work that the consortium is doing.
Thanks, Tara. I'm Debbie Franco. I'm the Senior Advisor for Water and Rural Affairs in the Governor's Office of Planning and Research. As Tara mentioned, I have the privilege of sitting on the board of directors for the consortium, which has been a really inspiring board of directors to work with. We, over the first year of the organization, have been a very active working board. And so the work I'm going to describe is work that the board and the partner agency team have been shepherding. And it's so exciting to now have the opportunity to hand this off, and hopefully we'll do it very gracefully to the steering committee. And as someone who's been around since the early days, I just have to say that the caliber of the steering committee so far exceeds my hopes and dreams for how this would all come together and who would be on the first steering committee when we were dreaming about it several years ago. So thanks to all the state agency folks. I mean, the state engagement in this has been so, I mean, our secretaries support it, and you can see by who's on the steering committee how important it is, and then all of the non-state folks too, just such a high caliber group. So now let me tell you what we're going to hand off to you. So first up, I just want to mention that, again, because we're in this process of continuing work while we're seating the steering committee, the board, and mostly I'll just confess I'm the driver here, and I appreciate the support of the board, is working toward convening a conversation on LIDAR. Some of you may know the state had originally in our state budget this year proposed funding to do statewide LIDAR. And then of course the pandemic hit. And so that money disappeared. And so the consortium, one of the potential values here is our ability to bring folks together to figure out if there's more value in aggregating our efforts to get to more consistent data at larger scale. So we're going to test the theory on LIDAR. The Department of Conservation in the state of California has agreed to co-convene a meeting with us. So I hope you'll all look for more information about that. And if you know people who are planning to collect LIDAR data in the next couple of years, please shoot me an email or Tara, because we're going to be working to collect and gather all of these people and see if we can get to statewide based on the existing investments that are planned. The other area of work that we've been doing that sort of officially launched a year ago is this focus on data streamlining. It's been a focus of the conversation from very early on. I'm seeing in the comment section a question about what is LIDAR. I'm probably not the best person to answer this question, so if I get it wrong, someone else should write in the chat box what the right definition is. But basically, it's flyover data collection. Actually, somebody else write it, please, because I know what it is, but I can't describe it on the spot. So I'm sure there's someone who's on right now who could do a much better job. And if you could please just answer that question in the chat. So the data streamlining we started about a year ago. And we gathered folks, the partner agency team and the consortium co-convened a meeting in La Jolla. And we had technical folks and policy folks in the room, and then we split up and then we came back together. And as Tara said, so important to have the policy folks there too, because the technical folks are super smart, but they really want to design something that makes sense for the non-technical user. So we gathered folks. We had two areas of focus. One was water use data, and the other was groundwater data. And so we are still sort of in a holding pattern on the water use data, and there are lots of folks in this space right now, so we want to do it very conscientiously. But we've made great progress in the groundwater space. And Eric Averett from Rosedale Rio Bravo Water District has been collaborating with our state folks and the academic community to move that pilot project. And so he's going to say a few words about it. Eric?
Sure, thanks, Debbie. First, let me just very quickly echo Debbie's comments regarding the quality of the steering committee, and looking very much forward to working with them. Embedded within the vision of AB 1755 is what I like to call data utopia. And that's very simply, imagine a world where regulatory agencies have identified needs for, in this case, we're talking about groundwater elevation data. And there's probably about 10, maybe even more programs within the state of California, each which require groundwater elevation data to be reported. But they may report it, or they may have requirements that it's reported on certain months or from certain wells. And the problem or the challenge is that for those of us that would be submitting this data, we have to hire consultants and generate 15 different reports for 15 different programs. But in this data utopia, the world would look more like the state would coordinate those regulatory programs and say, well, we really just need groundwater elevation data. And if you send it to us in this format on this schedule from these wells, all of the regulatory programs could go in and get that data. And then the other part of it is that it would be publicly available. And those that maybe are looking at doing studies to support different perspectives or different programs would have access to that data as well. And right now we have a very siloed system. And so data streamlining is really just federating and consolidating that data, getting it to where it needs to be and into the hands of those who need it. And so, as Debbie mentioned, the technical effort is ongoing, and we will be transitioning over to discuss, exactly how we can make this a reality. So that's all I have. Back to you, Debbie.
I think I'm passing it back to Tara.
All right, there we go.
Yep. Thanks, Eric.
Oh, and just to note, we do have breakouts on data streamlining. So go ahead, Tara.
Great. So with that, I'm going to say thank you to both Debbie and Eric. It was a great explanation and overview of some of the work that we're doing. And again, we're going to have some breakout groups on this that will start to be the basis for potential working groups moving forward. So lovely to see all the engagement that's taken place in the chat around LIDAR, and hopefully we'll see that around other topics as well. So with that, I'm going to hand it to another of the consortium's board members, June Lopez, who's going to talk a little bit about fundraising and avenues for us to for all of you to become involved in the consortium long term. So June.
Thanks, Tara. Hi, my name is June Lopez, and I have the pleasure of serving on the California Water Data Consortium Board as your treasurer. And welcome to all the steering committee members. You probably saw me grinning. I just know so many of you, so excited to have such amazing group of people to work with. And this is just the beginning. So I'm very excited, as you can tell. And for those of you that remember Public Broadcasting Services, otherwise known as PBS, I know I'm dating myself, but they're still around. You see this really great program, and then just in the middle of a really great program, somebody just pops in and says, if you like what you've been watching and you want to see more of this, we need your support. And that's my role, to ask for your support. Because why do we need it? This is a nonprofit. It's a great consortium. It started with legislation, started with a vision. It started with all these great people, and all of you that have tuned in and continue to track this and want to participate. And it's just growing, but we need support. As you all know, nonprofits, it's all by people who want to give. And so why should you want to give? And I'll ask you what we're asking for just in a second, but I like to kind of frame it to say why we need your support, because as you can see, there's so much that we have in store. This is a transformative movement. And in order to realize the vision, all of us, because there's so many things that we can take on and we haven't even started yet. We have a great foundation, we have great people, but we got a lot of work ahead. And in order to make sure that that work gets done, that's why we need to make sure the consortium is successful. And why should you participate? Well, anyone who knows me I love acronym because it helps to remember. It's, as I said, it's a sticker for the brain. Acronym is MAIN. It's about movement, access, impact, and network. Movement. If you ever complained about, I don't know, data collection or data reporting or how just data is managed, this is your chance to make that change. This is your chance to have that movement, to bring data, to bring big data solutions to what we're doing in water and put it on an open, transparent platform so there's a greater access, but also greater collaboration within and outside of our water community. So if you want to be part of a movement, that's a really good reason of why you should get involved. and access. You could already see from the steering committee members and the board members. And if you are really good with Zoom and you click on the participants and you could see all the names of 136 people, there's some really great names there. So it's having access to people that you might not always work with or talk to. And especially because this is so heavily supported by the state, being able to have access to these agencies that really define how we manage water and the policy that gets set really kind of shapes the future of California. You have access to that. Impact, it allows you to play a role because we are setting a big table. Ideally, there's role for everyone and there's room for all of us. And so if you want to make an impact, if you've got something to say, if you got something to give and something to contribute, it's an opportunity to make that impact and network. So not just the people of the consortium, but this consortium is going to grow in terms of what we do regionally, geographically, even internationally. So having that kind of a broad network really allows us to diversify our perspective, to strengthen our collaboration, and make really positive difference for the future of California. So hopefully you're interested now. And so what are we asking for? Well, there's really 4 things. We need your mind, we need your money, we need your time, and we need your friends. I know that's like awfully bold, right? But let's just be real quick to the chase. We need your mind, your talent, your ideas, your brilliance. Yes, we need money, and every little bit counts. And by the way, on the website of the consortium, we have a donate button. Every little bit helps. Crowdsourcing, it's about all of us. And then we need your friends, the people that you know, because there's so many ways that you can help and you know so many people. And it's kind of like this circle of friendship that we grow. So if you know someone that's not part of this conversation, if you know someone that can help us, then hopefully you can contact us and connect us to those really wonderful people and resources. And we need your time. As you know, this is the board members, the steering committee members, this is our time. This is our gift because we believe in this and we want you to believe in it. Hopefully you do, and you give us these 4 things. Any one or all of the above, that all sounds good. And we are going to have a breakout session about this. And I know, you think, what are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to talk about some ideas for how we generate what we need, both funding and resources, to keep this wonderful effort going. So I know probably with all the other breakout sessions, there's a lot more interesting ones. I get it, but without the revenue, without the support, without the resources, we can't do this. So I hope that some of you will join my breakout session, which I'm leading, to give me some ideas or tell me what I did that was both good and bad in this little presentation. And I'll tell you the last thing is that for those who contribute in any of the 4 things that I talked about, you will get a special call from me with a surprise. So, well, I'll let you know what that is. Thank you. Back to you, Tara.
Thank you so much, June. So, I mean, thank you. That was such a nice way. I mean, as we've said many times, the consortium is really relying on individuals like you to not only engage in our work, but to actively participate like you're all doing here today. I'm also particularly cognizant that I am now the barrier between us hearing from you in the breakout group. So I'm going to keep this relatively short. But I do want to say that part of what we have been doing is, we've had an incredibly active board, all of whom are volunteers and have really put in so much time and effort to make the consortium happen. We're asking the same of our steering committee members moving forward. They're going to be contributing a significant amount of time, but part of one of their first things that they're going to be focused on, I talked about this already, is the working groups. And so we want to hear from you during the breakout sessions about what is really, what are those key topics for you and how would you like to see those working groups evolve and ways for you to become involved. So I'm going to encourage anyone who has not already done so to please sign up for our listserv on our website. We are currently working to build out avenues to engage and for all of you to participate moving forward. And it's just a great way for us to be able to let you know what those are as they evolve. The second thing is, please feel free to email me or members of the board, of the consortium board, or the steering committee. Let them know any ideas that you have, how you would like to engage, or ways that you think would be great for the consortium to engage beyond, what we're currently doing. As I said, we are building this organization and we need help, and we need to hear from you on how best to do that. And then finally, for those of you who may not want to be as involved as we're asking in the working groups and the like, there are ongoing venues to engage. We're going to continue to have public events like this, where we will be having breakout sessions and opportunities to hear from all of you. And then finally, we are planning to, I'll be working with the board and the steering committee members to host some sort of sector specific outreach meetings, which will again provide an opportunity to hear from all of you in sort of a more targeted manner. And so again, if you are interested, or if there are specific working groups or subgroups that you would like to be part of, reach out to me, email through our website. We want to hear from you. This consortium is new, and we are looking to evolve moving forward. So with that, I will hand things over to Ariel. We're going to take, I think, a short break here before we start our breakout sessions.
Right. So it is a little 2:53. Basically, we will reconvene at 3 o'clock, and this is an opportunity for you to get up, move, and get your beverage, because once we reconvene, we'll have a toast to the steering committee launch, and then we'll orient you to the breakouts and get you into conversations. So see you in about 5 minutes.
I wanted to just welcome you back, and I know we had a lot coming at you for the last hour, and we appreciate you sticking with us because there is so much history to transmit. But now is our exciting moment to hear from you for the next hour. So we're pleased you're here with us to celebrate. Today is a major milestone, as we've mentioned before, in the advancement of open water and ecological data in California. And as you certainly know, so many people, it's been eye-opening to me and really refreshing, but so many people are passionate about open data, and more specifically, unleashing the potential of water and ecological data in managing our state's most precious resources. And so as we move into this community-led space that will bring us new energy, ideas, and talent, I really can't wait to see what the future holds. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Tara, and she'll get us going into the next hour.
Wonderful. Well, yeah, and likewise, we feel so fortunate. I feel so fortunate to be leading forward with the consortium, but with such a strong foundation that's been put in place with the Open and Transparent Data Act and all of the work that the partner agency has done to really implement that piece of legislation in their ongoing efforts to do so. And so we're just thrilled on behalf of both myself and the consortium board of directors to welcome our steering committee to the consortium, and to thank all of you for being here today. We're so excited about what this represents and for next steps. So with that, let's do a toast, and then we'll hand things back to Ariel to lead us on our breakout groups. So cheers.
Cheers, everyone. Oops. Great. Okay. Breakout groups.
Ariel, can I interrupt for 1 second? Because I think in the Zoom world, we've lost track of people clapping. And I think that this effort deserves a round of applause. So give everybody a minute to get off of mute. And then I just think let's give the steering committee a round of applause.
That's great.
Thank you for humoring me.
Good call, Betty.
Great, and I'm realizing we have some new reactions we didn't used to have, like the little party icon. So every time Zoom refreshes, we get some new things. Great. Okay, so speaking of Zoom refreshing, so we're going to go into the breakouts, and we did ask you all if you could to upgrade to the very newest version of Zoom, because it gives you personal freedom to choose a breakout and to move around between breakouts. For those of you who didn't upgrade, no worries. My colleague Julia Van Horn will be the driver of the breakouts, and she'll stay in the plenary, and you guys can work with her one-on-one, and she'll move you into a breakout if you've got an old version of Zoom. So anyway, so this will be an opportunity to do some really helpful and fun brainstorming to help the consortium, because the next step is going to be launching the work groups and launching the focused task efforts. And so you all can really help us to frame the things that need to be done and brainstorm ideas on how to meet the goals that the consortium wants to accomplish. Julia, do we have a next slide with topics on it?
No, we don't have topics listed.
Ah, we did not. Okay, I thought we had those there. So I will go over those. So basically, we have, let me see here. You all had an opportunity during registration to look at a number of topics, and you all expressed interest in all of the topics that we offered. So we really did work hard to offer all of those topics to you. So we have high priority data sets, state hosted open data portals, the protocols, data definition standards and protocols item, groundwater data streamlining, water use data streamlining, because we know those streamlining areas are really of interest, generating use cases. So there's been a lot of work on use cases. This would go back to that use case discussion and move things forward. As June mentioned, best practices in fundraising, best practices in engagement, and also how to engage with communities facing injustices, nurturing an active developer community, expanding engagement among the agricultural community, expanding engagement among the environmental community, developing a state-held water data inventory, developing a functional state-hosted data user interface, and performance indicators for the consortium. And so as soon as we enter the breakout space, you'll see all those titles listed. You'll be able to choose which one you want to go into. And if you end up in a really large group and would like a smaller group, some of you have identified multiple topics that you'd like. You're able to pull up the breakout screen and choose another topic. So we don't have any way to cap the number of people in a breakout, so we'll see where your interest goes, and this will be kind of a fun experiment. So in order to move yourself into a breakout room, if you look down at the control panel at the bottom of your screen, you'll see the breakout room option, and you'll click on that. Once it gets started, we'll see that, and a window will pop up and you'll see the list of topics. You'll click join on the right side of the room topic that you'd like to take part in, and a confirmation will pop up. And then when you click yes, you'll end up going into that breakout room. Julia, our driver, will be automatically moving the facilitators into those rooms. And so you folks don't need to choose your own rooms. So it'll take a moment for that to happen, but you're also able to switch in the breakout rooms as well. And so these breakouts will go till 3:50 p.m., so about 45 minutes. And then you'll automatically be brought back into the plenary. We'll have a sharing, and then we will move into our happy hour. So were there any questions? If not, Julia, do you want to start blasting us off into breakout space?
All right, everybody. Here we go. And I will be, as Ariel said, I'll be in the plenary. So any questions, feel free to chat me or just say them out loud. All right, have fun.
So I went in and out and I saw some really nice discussions going on. And at this point, Debbie will take over and share as she roved around what she gathered.
Well, first off, there were a lot of breakouts, so I don't know that I made it to everyone, but I tried, and I could only listen in for a few minutes. So I think the most important thing to acknowledge about the breakouts is that we had almost 100 people participating in the breakouts, which is huge. As you all know, you organize meetings like this, and it's really easy for people to stay for the presentations and then take off when it comes to the conversation. It's just, I mean, you are the embodiment of what the consortium's about. And so number one, thank you for staying and participating in the breakouts. And number two, I mean, look around, it's a solid group. And just the conversations that I was able to spend a few minutes here and there in, I heard trust. I think I heard trust mentioned many times. And I hope that you're already feeling that in these breakouts, you're starting to get to know each other and starting that process of building trust. And that is a prime opportunity that we're hoping the consortium provides. I heard words or phrases like real-time data, which, gosh, wouldn't that be the holy grail? The value of having case studies to demonstrate some of these things, to add texture and to demonstrate the value proposition. I heard people talking about alignment and how we make sure that that we're bringing people together in this space. Interesting. I heard I would just drop in on a breakout and I heard holistic 4 or 5 times. So I love that people are really trying to get to the big picture. We had a couple breakouts that were designed to talk about how we engage folks who aren't here already. And so we had one on disadvantaged and environmental justice communities and one on the agricultural community. And we had folks in both of those, which is awesome. We had one on better engagement of the environmental community. Unfortunately, that wasn't that popular. So I think that's a really important note for all of us. And like June was saying earlier, like we should be thinking about who are our environmental colleagues who might on the natural lean into this data space with us, because we are only as strong as the diversity of the people that we are able to bring to this table with us. So that's a really important thing. And we are, as a board, and I absolutely expect the steering committee will join the board in this full commitment to making sure that we are being as diverse, that we're producing information and materials and opportunities that are of value to the most diverse range of Californians that we possibly can. But it looks like from our participation here, we've got some work to do together. And that's a great thing. We are not going to have everyone do report outs, but rest assured that all the notes that were taken and any notes you send us after this, we are going to take back, and that will be a treasure trove for the steering committee to start chewing on. And so again, thank you all so much for participating. And since I have the floor, I also, I can never not thank people if it hasn't happened already. So I just want to give a quick shout out to the planning team, and I'm not going to remember everyone, but it was obviously Ariel and Julia were our cornerstone, and Chris and Tara and Meredith and help me, Jamie and Beth. Am I missing anyone, Ariel?
Elena, Hannah, Jonathan was June.
And Meredith.
Meredith, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a great planning team.
It was a great planning team. We continue to have great planning teams. And I just want to give a special shout out to Jonathan too, and to everyone else who is putting all those helpful resources in the chat that I love. I don't think that was planned. If it was, brilliant planning, but this is, again, this is the culture and nature of this group. People just pitch in. I want to send a personal thank you to all the folks who added information about LiDAR. I took a snapshot of that chat, and I will be looking at those resources myself, but so awesome that we just within a minute generated so many resources to help folks understand LiDAR. So I have high hopes, and you all are the embodiment. And so thank you all. And I am looking forward to the happy hour, happy half hour. I think I'm passing it off to Chris and to Tara.
And I think Chris is passing it off.
Well, I am briefly. I will just say a few words. I wanted to say again, thank you so much for being part of today's celebration and for the wonderful spirit you brought to this moment for us. This is such a turning point. There have been several, and this is one more domino, I guess I'll say, in the chain, but it feels like a really exciting time to be officially moving into real community engagement. So we thank you for being part of that community and for being part of our community. We do look forward to your continuing participation and active engagement as we get all the consortium and its many moving parts underway. It's happening now, and you are the treasure. So please join us. And with that, Tara.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you, everyone. We really appreciate you being here. The breakouts were a lot of fun, but we also learned so much from them. And a lot of what we learned during our last public meeting in June really informed what you saw in the breakout sessions here. So we really do use that information, and we'll continue to do the same. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for being so engaged. Thank you to our wonderful steering committee